So these are the brand new Beats Studio Pros, and these are retailing for $350. These just came out right now, and I think they're Beats' most expensive headphones you can buy today. The best way to review this is to give you guys some context. I'm gonna be making some comparisons to the AirPods Max and also the Sony XM5s. In terms of actual design, they're very similar looking to other Beats products. They have this kind of like plastic casing around the entire body. You know, it feels very strong and sturdy. You can flex it a little bit in either direction, it's not gonna break. And then you have this soft padding inside of here. I will say though, that this soft padding really accumulates a lot of dust. Like you put this against objects that are dirty, it's just gonna pick up the dust. You're gonna be wiping this down more than a TSA agent at an airport. But the one thing that this pair of headphones does so well is be compact. Like if you get the AirPods Pro and the XM5s, you can't fold them inwards. Like you're stuck with them sticking out like this, right? That takes up a lot of space in your bag if you're traveling all the time. These guys can fold inwards, which just takes up a lot less space. If you're talking about cases, the AirPods Max are using a bra. Like I don't even know what this thing is. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. If you're talking about the Sony XM5s, you have this big bag. Like this just takes up a lot of space. But with the Beats Studio Pros, you have a nice little case. You know, it's not the most solid case, but it's strong enough to give you some padding for your headphones. But you also have a space to place them, and you also have two cables that come in the box. You have a Type-C cable, and you have a headphone jack. Now this plays a big role later on, which I'll talk about shortly, but the overall build quality feels good. These are the blue color. There's also a brown color. In terms of blue, they made the outside shell a really, really dark navy blue. It's kind of hard to see. It almost looks black, but then in the middle, they have this brighter blue to give it a two-tone texture. In terms of button placement, the left side is where your button is placed. This Beats button allows you to do different things. For example, if you press it once, it's gonna pause the music, pick up a call. If you press it twice, it's gonna skip the song. If you press it 3 times, it's gonna go back to the previous song. If you long press it, it will bring up your voice assistant. So if you're using you know who, you can issue a command. But you also have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, a Type-C port, and then on the right-hand side, you have this multi-function button, and this is what you use to power on the device. If you press it once, for example, it's gonna let you know exactly how much battery life you have left, and then if you long press it, you can switch back and forth between transparency mode, active noise cancellation, or just turning it off. But the main reason why I love these Beats Studio Pros is because of how it plays with all your devices. You see, it comes with a Type-C connection, which means you can connect it to your computer and charge it, but you can also have audio at the same time. Like I connected this to my Windows laptop and it immediately picked it up as a pair of headphones, started charging and started playing music immediately. You try hooking up Sony's to your computer, all it's gonna do is charge. You're not gonna get any music from the Type-C port. You gotta use the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. That means over time, if you're not paying attention and charging it, this is gonna die on you one day. Then you have to make a mental note to charge it and then take it off the charger, then plug in back the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. The AirPods, there is no 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. It's all lightning. I don't like lightning. I wanna stick with USB Type-C, and the Beats Studio Buds, or Beats Studio Buds, that's how many Beats headphones I've been reviewing lately. The Beats Studio Pros allow you to do that. And this doesn't matter if you're using a Windows laptop, a MacBook Pro, a Chromebook, it pairs with all of them beautifully, even with Type-C. And that is kind of special, especially for someone like me who has all these devices and is constantly moving back and forth. This just plays nicely with all of them. Like this is Apple we're talking about, guys, okay? You buy an Apple product, it's gonna play nicely with your Apple products. But Beats allows them to do something that other manufacturers can't. It allows them to create a product that plays nice with other devices as if they were Apple products alone, if that makes any sense. Now, battery life is obviously important, and all 3 of these headphones do have good battery life, with the best battery life being on the Studio Pros, up to 40 hours if you have active noise cancellation and transparency mode off. But if you put them on, you get up to 24 hours of use. Whereas the AirPods Max, no matter what you do, it only goes up to 20 hours. XM5s are somewhere in the middle, but they all have very good battery life. Now, if active noise cancellation is the most important thing to you, the AirPods Max have the best. These have 8 microphones that are assessing the environment compared to 6 on the Studio Pros. I'd say that the XM5s and the Studio Pros are very equal. I don't think one is better than the other, but they're very similar. They're gonna block out the majority of noise if you're on a plane or if you're in a very loud environment. Now, a lot of you make phone calls with your headphones, and the Studio Pros are supposed to have very good microphones. So I'm gonna do a little sound test, and you guys let me know which microphone sounds the best out of the 3. Right now, you're listening to the Beats Studio Pros. These are exactly what the Beats Studio Pros sound like if you are talking to somebody. I did have a conversation with my wife, and she said that the microphone sounded pretty good. And now you're listening to the AirPods Max. This is exactly what the AirPods Max sound like. You guys let me know how this sounds compared to the Beats Studio Pro and the Sony XM5s. And finally, listening to the Sony XM5s, you guys let me know how these headphones sound compared to the other 2 that I just showed you guys. Now, sound quality is obviously one of the most important things when you buy over-the-ear headphones, and if you're planning on buying the Studio Pros, it does have a built-in DAC, which does support up to 24-bit 48 kilohertz. So if you want to play any high lossless audio on Apple Music, these headphones will be able to support it. And just like the AirPods Max, it does support spatial audio, and you can obviously move your head around. You're going to be able to hear the sounds coming from different directions and angles, depending if the song actually supports it. So you have those similar features. The one feature it is missing, though, is pause. Like if you take the headphones off your head, the music still plays, which is kind of annoying. But if you take the AirPods Max or the XM5s off your head, it automatically pauses and then automatically plays when you put it back on your skull. With these guys, not so much. You gotta push the physical button if you wanna pause the tracks. Now, this is not using the Apple chip, it's using its own Beats proprietary platform, which is the reason why it can fast pair and be so compatible with other devices that are not Apple. But if you're talking about actual sound quality, they all sound slightly different, okay? The Beats have a very distinct sound. It's a little bit more punchy, there's a little bit more bass, it's a bit more vibrant than the other 2. I found sound quality, like straight out of the box without any equalization, to be the best on the AirPods Max, okay? They were a little bit more flat in some areas, but there was more depth to the sound. Like I could hear more things when I was listening to stuff. Even little things like, background noise was more distinct on the AirPods Max than, let's say, the Beats Studio Pros. Not that these are like worse or anything, they're just very different, okay? The XM5s were kind of in the middle. But I found with the XM5s, I got the best control when I started to equalize things. Like if I took the time to equalize these guys, these could probably match or if not beat out the AirPods Max with proper tuning. The Studio Pros also allow you to equalize as well. So you can really fine tune the settings, but they're all very close, and I mean very close. And I'm not an audiophile, I'm just going on based on what I'm hearing. But if I had to rank it from best to worst, and again, these are all like very similar to each other, it would be AirPods Max first with the XM5s and the Pros kind of tied for second. So the big question, which pair of headphones should you buy? I really think it depends on your situation. Me personally, I like the Beats Studio Pros the best because they fit my lifestyle the best. I'm someone who uses everything from Android devices to Apple devices to Windows devices. And the fact that this plays so nicely with all of them, and I can use a Type-C cable to get audio and charge at the same time, which is something these 2 can't, is a big win in my books. They didn't remove the headphone jack. You get exceptional battery life. It's the best one out of the bunch to travel with just because of the actual size in case it comes with. And it's a little cheaper than the AirPods Max and more in line of what the XM5s are offering right now. But yeah, super impressed with the Beats Studio Pro. If you're interested in checking it out, I'll place a link in the description down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.